Genshin Impact is a game that will and has received a lot of quality of life changes through its initial release. However, there's been plenty of things within the community that people have wanted changed that MiHoYo just haven't answered yet. This is my top most requested changes that I want to see within Genshin Impact. Number one is going to be some type of prototype pity. Now, a lot of people have suggested to have some type of pity for this type of system. I know a lot of people have been doing their weekly bosses and still don't even think prototypes are something you can get within the game from your weekly bosses. There's been quite a different types of strategies that people have suggested that they can do it as such as having a currency, which once you beat the boss, this currency can be exchanged for the prototype of your choice, or just having a random prototype actually drop after a certain amount of times on the boss, say about 3 times, and you don't get one, the 4th time will drop one, or the 3rd one will drop one, whichever week they wanted to make it to where it would drop. Some type of prototype pity would definitely help out, so where people, or at least free-to-play players, can have weapons that they can utilize, 4-star weapons outside of the event weapons that have been definitely useful. But of course, having more variety of weapons to utilize would definitely benefit free-to-play players a lot. Number 2 is having some type of artifact stat changer. I know a lot of people right now are definitely within the end game of the game and definitely want to have something inside of the game that allows them to basically manipulate the RNG that's within the artifacts, because right now there's a lot of RNG to deal with. There is the main stat, there's the substat, then there is the initial baseline of what substats you get as far as the value of what they are, and then there's the RNG of how much you get for upgrading the substats. Now, if you are Epic 7 player, this is something you're probably already used to, but of course there is definitely something that could be done for as far as making it a little bit better and nicer for players. Of course, this could be a huge more sync and be something purely for in-game players to dive into, but it is something that can help players, allow them to basically, you know, make their characters stronger faster when it comes to getting these new characters, because artifacts is something that's going to be in the game for a long time. Obviously, it's going to be something, a strenuous process every time you get a new character, and if you're not going to change the resin, then having a way to do this would definitely benefit. Of course, this could be something they could do as far as changing the main stat. Maybe you get a change in the main stat, or it could be you can choose one substat to change and you could keep changing it, but it still has the same values as far as the RNG of which substat you get, and every time you do it, it costs a bit of more to actually change the substat. Either way, I guess we'll just make it somewhat better, just somewhat of a quality of life change for the artifacts. Will definitely make players a lot happier when it comes to user experience, when it comes to actually farming artifacts. Number 3 is some change to the weapon banner. Now, I know the weapon banner has been the bane of a lot of players' existence for quite some time, and I would love to see it come in a new quality of life change to where I can recommend it to even free-to-play players, because at the moment where it stands, I don't even recommend it for whales. And basically it's because of how it works with the RNG chance of getting the weapon you want. If you don't know how the weapon banner works, essentially what happens is once you hit the pity or you hit the RNG chance for the 5-star, there's a 50% chance of you getting one of the 2 weapons that are there, and this never changes. So basically, if there's a weapon you want, you can always just proc the other weapon instead infinitely, and this could be a huge problem, especially for people that are spending a lot of money trying to get a specific weapon just to get one copy. You could spend a lot of money here, and that's why it's not recommended for anyone. And so there's a lot of different changes they can do here to make it to where it's completely viable as far as like making it to where it actually functions. For one, there's usually 2 weapons. If they want, typically a banner is up for about like 2 to 3 weeks. They can just cut it in half, so the weapon banner is just on a smaller timer than say the actual character. So the weapon is up for probably like a week or a week and a half, and then it swaps to the other weapon that is there for the other half. Another way they could do it is they could just make you pick which weapon you want to go for, and once you pick, you can't change it until you actually hit that weapon. So it's going to ask you, are you sure you want this one? You click yes, and then it locks you into that weapon until you actually hit that weapon or the banner goes away. And then of course, when the next banner is there for the next 2 weapons, you get another choice again. I think that is a perfect way to do it as well. That will make players happy because they know they're guaranteed the weapon that is there. You know, having it to where people get a choice of the weapon that they get, or they can just have it to where there's only one weapon in the banner, and that makes it even better. If they do want to really keep both in there, then there needs to be something to where if you hit one weapon, then you're guaranteed the next weapon on the next pull. That'll be another way to make it to where it is a functional state to where it makes players happy, to where players are not spending a lot of money or just a lot of their premium currency to actually get the weapon that they really want. Number 4 on the list is consistent scalable content for hardcore players. I know there's a lot of concern with hardcore players about playing the game, even playing the game at the moment, and then why should they summon for other characters? And it is a lot of things that are going into the minds of hardcore players. Essentially, the hardcore audience just wants something to basically have the incentive to make it to where they are getting stronger. They want to know, why should I get stronger? Why am I working so hard to make these artifacts? Why am I getting constellations for these characters? They want a content that is going to push them to the level, make them think about their team comps, and they want to have fun doing it. Of course, another big thing is they can actually just get cosmetics for it now that we have furniture stuff. So let's just always have some scalable content. If there's an event, MiHoYo should definitely keep the fact of there being difficulties. But let's not do the arena difficulty where the hardest difficulty is extremely easy. I'm saying make it to where it is really hard, like where it is scaling, like, you know, to about abyss level, like hard abyss level as far as content. These players want something that is going to test them outside of abyss when it comes to these events. So give them that type of feeling. Make it to where it is extremely hard. I don't know exactly how they want to scale it, but just make it to where it's hard, to where players cannot just run through this content. They actually got to think, they actually got to put in the time, and, like, you know, sometimes it could be hard enough to where the community has to come together as far as community effort to try to find the right team comps to beat this thing. You know, make it a fun community project, whatever you got to do to keep the hardcore audience, you know, satisfied as well. And once again, you can just put some cosmetics behind it to say, hey, look at this cool furniture I got from the event. Yeah, me and my boys, we actually figured it out and we did it. You know, something cool like that would be simple enough and keep players satisfied. So make sure, MiHoYo, that you please do something for hardcore audience. Make it to where there's a harder difficulty always. And of course, you can always get the normal difficulties and stuff for the casual audience that just want to get all the stuff for the event, you know, all the free stuff, as far as the materials and stuff like that. Keep that in there for as well, but make sure there's something scalable for the hardcore audience. Number 5 is making more events like the summer event. This was an amazing event, guys. I know a lot of people coming to this event very skeptical, and I want to make a full review on the event itself, as far as like just explaining like how impactful it was for players that actually have something like this. But just to break it down for us how good of an event this was. One, it incorporated the characters of Mondstadt very effectively. The interactions that we got with the characters, the ability to talk to the characters outside of the actual event itself, and just, you know, just get to see more lines with the characters and how they felt about the things that were happening. Just the interactivity with the characters was so nice. And of course, having this full-on island that we can explore, of course, is going away after the event, but it gave us that sense of exploration again that wasn't inside the game for a minute. And I know that's why some people are even playing the game, is because they do like the fact that this game has that sense of exploration. If every patch can have this sense of exploration back, along with interactivity with the characters, then I promise you, nobody will have problems with this game. You will actually make so many people happy if you allow players to have this sense of exploration. If you make characters interact with each other. We have something like this with the Leo Wave, which was missing inside of the actual the Rights Festival event that we had, the Lantern Rights Festival. That was missing. You know, we didn't have this huge interactivity with these characters and stuff. That was really missing. So if this is going to be the new standard, then I would definitely appreciate this going forward, and a lot of people will be happy with this. Of course, maybe they can't make a whole new island with a bunch of new puzzles and stuff every patch. I understand that's a lot to ask for. But if you could give us something to where there's interactivity with the characters outside of the main story that's like incorporated with the event, and then you can, like, I don't know, give us a sense of exploration without probably making a whole new island every time, if that's even possible, then I know a lot of people will be happy. So something similar close to this event would definitely be there. Of course, the festivals will probably still be there as well. But once again, as long as the festival have the interactivity, I know the Mondstadt Festival was definitely a lot more better received when it comes to the interactivity of the characters, because they were all there and they were, like, you know, talking and stuff like that. Outside of the Leeway one, once again, which wasn't actually having that interactivity that this one had, a lot better for sure. So they keep one up in themselves when it comes to this, and I think over time they'll find a formula that really just works. So I think this would be something that would just gradually get better over time. For number 6, and I don't even know why I have to ask for this, is a pity wish counter. Some way so we could tell exactly how many wishes we need to actually hit pity. Now, I know there's a soft pity within the game and stuff like that, and you can hit it a little bit early, but just some indicators so people know exactly where they at, because just having to go through the pages and read and like count how many that I'm close to the pity, this gets a little bit annoying over time. You know, the fact that their other game has one and this game doesn't, when it's so simple to add one, it just boggles my mind why there isn't one in the first place. And once again, I don't even know why I have to ask for this. Just please, can we get some type of pity counter within the game so we know exactly when we're going to hit it for both, all the banners, for the normal one, for the limited, and for the weapon one. Just have a pity counter. It's that simple. It's not that hard to implement, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, let's just have one. So my final change that I want to see, and this is more like a future update things, is more interactivity when it comes to the housing system itself. Right now, they have made a couple of quality of life changes within the housing system. Obviously, you can actually put inside, you could put like NPCs of the characters inside, and you can actually interact with them. That's pretty cool. But I'm saying more interactivity for things to do, you know, outside of being able to go to your friend's house and then just looking at it and just being like, cool. There's really not much to do, you know. I know there's the farming system coming soon, which is going to add a little bit more interactivity on the single part, but I just want a little bit more co-op stuff to do, you know. I wonder if they could bring in, like, I've been saying it for a while, some type of like board games or something we could do. Like, imagine if you could, like, I don't know, make a chessboard with, like, craft a chessboard, you could put it on a table, and all of a sudden you and your friends can play a game of chess or any other type of board games. They can even make their own card game. Like, if you guys ever played Witcher before, Witcher has the Gwent game inside of it built, and is built on like the lore of the game. If they make a card game built within the lore of, you know, Teyvat, within this whole world that they have, then that would be pretty cool too. All the board games or whatever they make, any of these type of games can be just things that have to do with the lore of the world, and I think that'd be really cool. So we can have something to do. Friends can just, you know, challenge each other inside of there, and just be something to do, something to have fun with, something to make going into a friend's house more interactive. And I think that would be really cool. But more interactivities with the housing system would definitely be a benefit, a plus for me. I would definitely love that. So let's see what they're going to do with that. So like I said, probably a future thing that they probably got in their works as far as making more interactivity, especially with the farming system. Let's see what they got next. But anyway, that's what my pick was. And that's my list of changes that I want to see the Genshin Impact the most. Of course, there's some other changes that I could have put in there. Like, of course, I didn't want to beat the dead horse of resin and stuff like that, where everybody's talking about that. Of course, you know, more resin will make players happy. We already know that. But I just want to talk about some things that I think weren't, like, you know, on the radar as much and weren't as talked about as much as the things that I just mentioned. So that's why I wanted to bring up these rather than some like most common topics and stuff like that. Anyway, I hope you guys like this list. Let me know down in the comments below if there's any other changes you guys really feel like Genshin Impact needs to really get the icing on the cake to make this game even better. I would definitely like to see that down in the comments below. Anyway, if you like anything I had to say, drop me a like. I greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, follow me on my socials. Also, don't forget to subscribe and turn notifications so you know the next video goes live. As always, my name is Dyken, and I'll see you next time. Signing out.